In this quick video, we're going to be going over search impression share. So we're going to be talking about this number right here on your Google Ads campaign. We're going to go over what it is, why it's important, and what you can actually do with that information. So if you're new here, my name is Chris. I cover all things Google Ads and local lead generation. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get my face out of the way here, and then we're going to dive in and then go over search impression share. So there's going to be three columns that I really focus on when it comes to search impression share. Obviously, there is search impression share itself, which is this column right here. The next one that I focus on is this other one called impression top percent, and then impression absolute top percent. These are the three things that I tend to focus on a lot when I'm going through Google Ads accounts and then trying to diagnose any issues, figure out what I should be bidding and all that kind of stuff. But before we get into all that, if you are not seeing search impression share on your end, all you got to do is have the campaign view or ad group view, whatever view you want to have. If you want to find these columns, you just click on columns right here, go to modify columns, and then under competitive metrics right here, you can find search impression share, and then under performance, you can find impression top percent and then impression absolute top percent. Click it all, hit apply, and then you can rearrange your columns in any order you want over here. And then you can have your columns all set up. Now let's go over what each of these different columns mean, and then we'll go over why it's important and then what you can actually do with that information. So when it comes to search impression share itself, this is essentially the percentage of all total searches that you are currently showing up for based on the keywords that you're bidding on, factoring in things like negative keywords and all that. This is essentially, I view this kind of as like the cap that you have on your current market based upon your keywords, your location targeting. So for this particular campaign right here, we're essentially showing up for about 57% of the total searches that we could show up for. And the closer this gets to 100%, that essentially means like if you're at 100%, you're capped. Like you can't push that any further. And the more you bid and the more you try to spend on traffic, you're just not going to get more. So it's really important to have this here, because if you are bidding and you're upping your bids more and more and more, and you're not seeing any more traffic, if this number is at like 80, 90%, then that's kind of your issue. You're just sort of hitting a ceiling. You just physically cannot get more search traffic out of that location targeting, out of those keywords. I look at this and I see, hey, if they did want to scale their budget to say 100 a day, 125 a day, based on this number, we should have the room to make that happen. So they could get more lead volume out of this particular market. So that is search impression share. Search impression share is super straightforward. It's just really what percentage of searches are you showing up for. Now, these next two columns I like to have in here because they give me a little bit more insight upon like where my ads are showing up on the page. So impression top percent, another quick little thing. If you just hover over the column, Google gives you their little rundown on it. You can hit learn more, and it'll take you to a Google support article where you can read even more if you're interested in that kind of stuff. But impression top percent, this essentially means of the searches that you showed up for, so not of all of the potential searches, of the searches that you showed up for, what percentage of those were you in the top 3 search results? So right now, this is telling me that when our ads showed up, 82.5% of the time, we were in the top 3. And then the impression absolute top percent column over here, this is essentially what it might suggest. This is a percentage of the time our ads were absolute number 1 on the paid search results on Google. So there's different things you can pull from this information, but really at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to your bidding and whether you are bidding competitively or if you are overbidding on the traffic that you're getting from Google. So let's talk about underbidding first. So something like search impression share, and I see this a lot where somebody might launch a campaign and they are wondering why am I not getting traffic? Like it's been up for a week and my ads have gotten 10 impressions, I've got no clicks, I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of different things that could be going on there, but if you put search impression share on your columns here, and let's say this number said something like under 10%, or it was just showing like 10 or 20% search impression share, there's a very good chance that your bids are just too low. So that would mean you're just not bidding competitively enough in that particular market that you're advertising in. And that search impression share number is going to give you insight into that. So in that case, if that search impression share was too low, then you just need to bump up your bids to try to actually get Google to serve your ads, because you need to bid more competitively to actually get your ads showing up. And you can get the same kind of insight from the top percent and absolute top percent, where if these numbers are both really low, it probably means you're just not bidding competitively enough. And ultimately, with these two numbers, I'm not as worried about the top percent, because honestly, if I see this absolute top percent number too high, in my head, that pretty much means like we're overpaying for that traffic. Like there's no reason why we need to be absolute number one on Google all the time, because that number one spot on Google usually means you are paying too much for that traffic. But what I do like to see is I want to see this top percent number a little bit higher. Again, I don't want to like be maxing this out all the time. It would be great if that could be 100%, but usually if that's 100%, you're probably also still overpaying for that traffic. So I want to make sure both of these numbers are reasonable. And there's no, like, I don't have like a rule that I follow really, but I just kind of look at this and say, you know, if this is too low, then we're probably not bidding too much. And if both of these are too high, then we're probably overpaying for that traffic. And really what these numbers boil down to, I just kind of use these numbers as a indicator of how much search traffic there is in the market. Are we being competitive with our bids? And then when we are bidding, are we either overpaying or are we underpaying? Like kind of where are we falling on the page? And these three numbers are a very good way to get a quick glance of that without getting really, really in depth with the multitude of different metrics you can dig into within a Google Ads account. I find these are some of the simplest, easiest ways to just kind of see where your ads are showing up and if you're being competitive enough with your budget and with your bidding. So that is it for search impression share. Hope you got a little bit more insight out of this and you took a couple things away that you can actually apply to your campaign based on whatever your goals might be for that campaign. So if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you are somebody who wants to DIY all this stuff yourself, you want to run the campaigns, in the description below, there's going to be a link over to a free Google Ads course right here on the YouTube channel that you can check out. Alternatively, if you are somebody who wants somebody like myself to actually build, manage, optimize, do all this kind of stuff on the Google Ads campaign so you don't have to worry about it, there's also going to be a link in the description below for a free consultation. You can fill that out. I can review it, see if I can help you out. But in the meantime, hope you got a little value out of this and hope to see you in the next video. Thanks.